Scott Hazelton here to take you through the week that was on HRTV. David Carroll stopped by Race Day America before his filly ran in the Lane's End feature race of the week, the Cardinal Handicap.
She went into the First Lady at Keenan, doing well, looking great, and we're expecting her, you know, if not to win, at least to run a bang-up race and get back on track. The turfs come up very soft that day, but the fact of the matter was, she was never at the races that day and ran very poorly. After that, then we sent her over to Dr. Bramley for him to go over her, and we did an exhaustive test on her, blood work, physical, and she got a clean bill of health. Come back, she trained beautifully, but we're hoping she can come back and run a big race today.
So just one of those things that nobody has quite the answer to just yet.
Well, Scott, you know, with these fillies, if we have them do something they don't want to do, they don't like it very well. So I think we just got off track with her, and it's just taken us a while to get her back. But she looks fantastic. She's been training beautifully. She loves Churchill, but she also loves Keenan. But I'm hoping that we've got a good turf course today. So I'm as anxious as you guys are, too, to see her run, and I'm hoping we can get back on track.
Ackerman is already coming under a ride. You go West Girl towards the inside. Long approach and all-out drive. Lemon Chiffon to the outside. To the inside is Leamington. Between fillies, My Baby Baby. These three in a line across the track. Ackerman tries to come on as they race down inside the final furlong and splitting rivals. You go West Girl. Ackerman towards the outside. You go West Girl towards the hedge. Back in third is Lemon Chiffon. Driving up towards the line. Ackerman knows where the line is at Churchill Downs, and she wins again underneath the Twin Spires.
Churchill Downs was the site for the Papa John's pick of the week, and Warriors Reward got up to take home a slice of the pie.
Absolute last as they make the turn is Warriors Reward. He's going to have to slingshot wide here, racing down the lane, and they've got a furlong and a half to go, and Flavor has grabbed the lead to Maltese Dog in second. On the inside, Country Day is in third. Now flying down the outside, here comes Warriors Reward, but he's running out of real estate. A 16th to go. Flavor is out in front. Warriors Reward, relentless, remorseless, doesn't get there today. Flavor got first run and bags the win over Warriors Reward. And then Maltese Dog.
Papa John's selection of the week comes through. He hits the board, does Warriors Reward. And we want to congratulate the connections of Warriors Reward. From Papa John's, America can now enjoy a special Papa John's promotional offer. Just go to HRTV.com, click on the Papa John's Pizza to get your slice of the prize.
Churchill's Darren Rogers shared the news with Race Day America that Downs After Dark is here to stay.
That was a lot of fun, Carolyn, the Downs After Dark, because it wasn't, you know, you really had to be here. It wasn't just, you know, racing under the lights. That's something that dates back to the 60s here at Churchill, or here in horse racing. But what we did is had a lot of ancillary entertainment activities coinciding with the racing. We tried to incorporate many of the things that have helped make the Kentucky Derby week so popular: food, fashion, entertainment, music, etc. So there were a lot of things going on in addition to just racing under the lights, and we're moving forward with a $3 to $4 million project to install permanent lights here at the track. It'll begin immediately after the fall meet begins, and it's about a 4-month installation project. There will be about 1,000 lights, 50 poles around the facility, another 25 atop the rooftops. We'll cover the entire main track, the turf course, even the infield. And so what we've decided to do is try and keep Downs After Dark unique and special. So 6 dates, the final 4 Fridays of our 2010 spring meet will be raced under the lights starting at 6 o'clock Eastern. And then we've got 2 nights in the fall, including opening night, which is Sunday, October 31st. That doubles as Halloween, so you can bet your bottom dollar there will be a giant Halloween party, and that also precedes Breeders' Cup Week here at Churchill Downs. So a great way to kick off the Breeders' Cup Week festivities, and then another one later in the fall on Friday, November the 19th.
Now, if you're Graham Motion, you're saying, no, really? Whip comes off, trying to look right there. I think it was right about there. Whip goes away, and as you can see, Luis Garcia is just slapping this one along, trying to keep it together. Ultra game finish. Unfortunately, he's hitting him with everything he can find. I remember we saw Jose Valdivia one year in the San Diego Derby had to do the exact same thing. Get those goggles out and start hitting. Unfortunately, he's going to come up second best.
You urge him along at 2-1. The favorite is defeated right on the wire. Ooh. Kendrick Katamouche in the 6th. 3-horse at 2-1. Goggles and all.
Goggles, hands. I was waiting for the cap to come off and start using that, you know, a little extra.
Haynesfield added a graded victory to his resume, taking the Discovery Handicap with ease.
And Gone Astray's right alongside Haynesfield as the field hits the top of the stretch. Haynesfield and Gone Astray, 1-2 into the stretch. Redding Collieri is given away third. Bad Action is fourth. Haynesfield's got the lead by a length and a half with a furlong to go. Dominguez spurring it on now to a 3-length lead. Gone Astray is given way. Bad Action on the outside. Coming down to the finish. The Discovery goes to Haynesfield. And he won it by more than 4 lengths.
Shug McGahee discovered a winner when his filly grabbed a distinctive maiden.
She's one I've been kind of high on all the time. She had some ankles when she was a 2-year-old. I gave her some time, and you know, it's just been very, very difficult back here to run horses long on the dirt. And she's been one that's just been begging to run long on the dirt. And today they came off the turf, and you know, I got to run her a mile. And I mean, if you saw her race, I mean, I didn't really think she got to run really good to the last 16th of a mile or so, and she galloped out strong. And I'm looking forward to when I can get her to Florida or somewhere along the line, be able to run around 2 turns. On the dirt. I mean, you know, you can remember her mother, you know, going around 2 turns, you know, when she was a 4-year-old, was, well, even when she was a 3-year-old, Alabama, and just got beat in the Breeders' Cup, you know, was a pretty good filly. So I've been looking forward to getting her stretched out, and I want to get her stretched out even farther.
Barbara Banke's version of the Super Filly skipped out on the Breeders' Cup this year, but the rest was well-deserved after a remarkable 2009 campaign.
We wanted to raise the bar and run a very tough campaign for Rachel last year, and I think we did. So that was the plan, and I think the Woodward was the culmination of that. I think the Woodward, she actually ran. Other people have said, and I agree, that she ran about 5 races that day because she kept being challenged, and she kept meeting the challenge and beat all of them.
Barbara, I've got to ask you this one question. Any regrets at all about not coming out for the Breeders' Cup?
Not really. I think we had planned the campaign. You know, she ran 8 races last year, and we wanted to raise the bar. So we knew when we went to the Haskell that she really probably would only race 1 or 2 more times. And her races were all tough. Even when she was running against the other fillies, you know, she had a tendency to beat them by 19 or 20 lengths. So she took on all challenges, and we wanted to raise the bar every time. So I think that was the culmination at the Woodward. And our basic concern was taking care of her because we want to run her next year. So we want to be in the position to bring her back to the fans next year, and we wanted to make sure that she was in top shape.
California Flag cruised down the Santa Anita turf course, giving Brian Corner his first Breeders' Cup victory.
I think Joe learned, you know, how fast the horse could run off down the hill, and he was patient, and they let him have his way on the front end a little bit, and it all worked out.
It certainly did, and we want you to take us through this race, Brian. We're going to play it back in its entirety and talk us through the race down the hill.
Well, you know, the filly on the outside, we figured she was going to show the speed, and Joe just let him leave on his own, and the horses have natural speed. And then once they make the little arc to the right here, I mean, the filly, they just took a hold. And
how surprised were you at that point?
At that point, I couldn't believe it was the Breeders' Cup, and this was happening. I mean, I was like, this could be over already, because he's just cruising, you know.
When you have, your experience with this hill course, the jockey's experience compared to those that are shipping in, how much of an advantage is that?
It's got to be a big advantage to go to the right and then back to the left, and these horses probably get a little lost of where they're going, and then especially when the riders are starting to ask these horses, they have to get to the dirt crossing, and they probably really kind of get confused, once they get across it and they finally level off again and they get going. But right here, this horse really puts in a big run when he crosses the dirt. He switches to his left lead, and he really has a big punch. And the only time it kind of bothered me is right here. He's still on his left lead, and I was wondering, man, this horse usually switches pretty quick, and what's going on? Then he switched, and nobody was coming at him, and it was just a great victory. And the horse ran the race of his life.
Does he just kind of do it all on his own? Knows when to kick it in down this 6.5 run?
I think he runs about as hard as he can all the time.
Jeff Siegel has an early Derby choice that also doubled as his best bet of the weekend in the Hollywood preview.
Jeff Siegel and Veracruz going to give you, the HRTV viewer, the best bet of the weekend.
I really like American Lion, obviously. I'm already on record as calling him next year's Derby winner.
November 19th, 5:26 p.m.
I didn't say which Derby, though. But the thing is, my out. But I think he's going to be an okay price because Baffert's got two in here, Indian Firewater and Macias. They'll take some money. But going 7/8 of a mile, American Legion, who just broke his maiden going 7/8, he blows them away.
American Lion is now asked for his run by Leparoux. He's 2 from the front. Tribal Face outside of him. At the rail goes Seattle Ruler. Get My Fix catches the eye, and he's moving up. Here's Get My Fix. American Lion engages Macias for the final 16th, and American Lion struts his stuff now. American Lion to the outside, Get My Fix. Seattle Ruler. American Lion, Get My Fix. Gonna be close. American Lion. American Lion held off. Get My Fix.
Horse racing lost one of its elite trainers on Monday. Bobby Frankel was an icon, and his former roommate Scotty McClellan shared some of his memories of his good friend.
Obviously, to say he's gone is very, very sad because he's a very good friend. Great trainer, and just a real character. He was very hard to do business with, very aggressive. He was going to do what he wanted to do all the time, and but when you got him away from the racetrack, he was a character. He was just wanted to have fun and eat good food and do fun things. He's a great guy, and racing, and everybody will miss him around the racetrack, obviously.
Scotty, you did business with him for many years. What was the key to making it work with Bobby?
Well, agreeing with Bobby. You just agree, Scotty, am I right or am I right? I go, well, you're right, Bobby. You just agreed with him. I mean, if there was an inquiry and he was in New York, he might call me. Did you see this? Get on the TV. You watch this replay. You tell me, should this have come down or what? And he, and if they didn't take it down or did or whatever, or whatever the incident was, he'd call and confirm it with me a lot of times, like if we were on the same page, And but he was the ultimate thinker. He was tremendous at planning things and finding a way to beat that horse that may have beat him today. As soon as that horse and race ran, he's thinking what he can do to change either the style of his horse or the running of the race to beat that guy in the next race, or where does he have to go with him. He was unbelievable. He run them where they could win or had a good chance of winning. He didn't like to run when he didn't have a chance. And the greater the chance he had, the lower the odds, the more nervous he was. And you could see him come up there. He didn't want to talk to anybody. And, 1 to 9 shot, he'd get up there and he'd be at his worst, even though, you're in that position that you'd love to be. But that's when he would be the most, he would think the only way he could mess it up is if the jock did. And, of course, the jocks cost him a lot of wins.
I found the best ice cream, Scotty. I'm telling you, chocolate. It's the best ice cream you've ever had. I'm telling you. So I come home, got the football game going, and all of a sudden I go in the kitchen, I open the freezer, and here's a container of chocolate chip. So I look in there, it's about half empty, so I ate the chocolate chip. An hour and a half later, Bobby comes walking through the door. He says, Scotty, I had the worst day. I lost a client with 3 horses sitting on wins. I had a horse get hurt breezing this morning. They claimed a horse from me that's worth $100,000. I was running for $50,000. He says, I've had the worst day. the only thing that kept me going was the chocolate chip. I couldn't wait to get home to the chocolate chip. And I go, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And he's like in the other room, chocolate chip. Finally, he heads into the kitchen. I go, please don't open that freezer. He opens the freezer and he, and this scream comes out, and I look over like, you know, I didn't know what happened. Well, there was 2 other guys that lived with us, his exercise boy, Al Schweitzer, and Hi, who was his uncle. So I had 2 other people that could get blamed, so I didn't take the fall, you know. So we heard about it all night, about this chocolate chip. So the next day, they went out and bought like 25 containers of it. We had the freezer stacked 2 deep all the way to the back with chocolate chip.
Bobby Frankel had a huge influence on the sport, and trainer Chad Brown took it all in.
So many stories and horses that he figured out, that some of them weren't grade 1 horses, but they were just horses we had in the stable maybe no one even heard about, but he made something out of them. He figured out every horse. He trained horses individually, which is very rare these days, I think, and he was just so patient. I never saw him panic over anything. With some real big-time horses would come up with a problem, and I'd be very nervous as an assistant how to handle it, and he'd always just keep an even keel. Don't worry about it. Here's what we're going to do. And everyone listened to him, and we followed what he said, and most of the time he was right.
What is the biggest impact he's had on you personally?
Well, everything from teaching me to be patient with horses, teaching me about how to train horses, helping me get owners, and all the way around, he's had a huge impact on my life, I'll tell you.
How was he to work for back in those years?
He was pretty good to work for. I mean, he was demanding. He required a certain amount of perfection, but he was understanding about the circumstances surrounding training horses. Things are going to happen, and everyone really wanted to work for him and tried really hard not to make mistakes. And he was very, very generous, especially paying his employees. Whatever you had coming, it was always a little extra every time he paid everybody. And he was a really, really great guy to work for.
Chad, do you find yourself now as a trainer trying to think like Bobby Frankel, trying to put yourself in his shoes and approach a certain situation in that way?
I really do. I mean, I've gotten advice from people saying, you have to be your own person and you have to do this and you have to do that. Well, I'll tell you what. I try to run his system as closely as I can because I know how successful that system was. I'll tell you if you want a different story about him. And one time I was at Churchill Downs, and it was around Derby week, and we were under a lot of pressure. And Bobby came back to the barn with a kid named Kenny, and he told me, Chad, come here. Do we need any help right now? I said, no, we have plenty of help right now. He said, well, hire him. Hire this kid right now. Give him something to do. I said, okay. And I said, Bobby, we really don't need any help. Just give him a job. I said, okay. So the problem was Kenny was handicapped, and he could not walk too well. And he had been going around, he had worked for some stables around Churchill or something, and he had been walking down the road, and Bobby had saw him walking back from the track, or maybe he approached Bobby and introduced himself or something, and something about this kid, caught Bobby's attention. And so I put him to work, and to be honest with you, there wasn't a whole lot he could do, but he was a hard worker, the kid. And he really couldn't hot walk too well because he couldn't walk well. So we let him groom some horses and stuff. And I got to be honest with you, I really didn't need the help. We had plenty of help we brought in from California. But Bobby was insistent on him having a job.
Michael Blowen of Old Friends found it fitting that the new division pay tribute to Bobby and bear his name.
It's funny, I think Bobby was quoted in one of the great articles that was, I think, in the Racing Forum, that one of the Jays did, either Pridman or Hugdy, and he talked about how he never would have ended up training horses if he didn't just follow his instincts and kind of jump off the cliff, and that's kind of what we've done. The interesting thing to me is that we've always wanted to have a facility in New York, because there's always been a lot of support for that up there among the racing fans, especially the ones that go to Saratoga in the summer. And I got a call or an email about a month ago from a wonderful woman up there named Joanne Pepper, and she goes, I have a little farm, and I'd really like to get involved. And she sent me pictures of the farm, and we had people go up and take a look at it. And I went up and took a look at it last weekend and met the Peppers, Mark and Joanne. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful place. And I thought it's only 20 minutes from the racetrack. People can come up and visit the horses, which is an important component to old friends. And even more importantly, I looked around and saw how well they took care of the horses they already had there. And it was just a perfect place, and I think it's a perfect fit. And then when I was coming back, we found out on that Monday that Bobby had died. It just hit me immediately that this would be a really nice memorial to Bobby. And he's always loved the animals, and he's always supported Old Friends and a lot of other horse groups. And I just thought it was a natural fit. And we're honored that Dottie and Gordo, who's handling his affairs, thought it was a good idea, too.
A Brooklyn-born trainer, Hall of Famer, 4-time Eclipse Award winner, but never a Triple Crown win until today.
Empire maker Jerry Bailey asking him for everything he has.
It's a great race for me, and this is probably the biggest thrill I've had in racing, to be honest with you, because I knew he was the best to us, and he came through.
Here's the wire, and Empire maker has won the 135th Oman Stakes.
Bobby Frankel, what a job getting this horse ready for this race.
Go Sapper kicking clear, and Go Sapper is pulling away impressively.
Well, Bobby Frankel said Go Sapper has done things that you don't expect horses to do.
The only reason I was a little concerned because my Breeders' Cup record's not that great, and but if it was a normal day, I'd have been very, very confident.
And I just got off the phone with Bobby Frankel. He's watching from his home in Pacific Palisades. He's tending to his dog, who is ill.
Ginger Punch reclaims her position right back on top, the Distaff champ.
But what a scintillating performance from Ventura.
The 6th Breeders' Cup win for Bobby Frankel.
And I'll tell you what, Bobby Frankel, the trainer, has been raving all week long about how Ventura has been training.
I just stand up so I can be as tall as him.
There you go. Good plan. I've always looked up to you anyway, Bobby. You know that.
There aren't too many horses going to outrun this horse out of the gate. And he doesn't act like it in the morning, but in the afternoon when the gates open, he's gone.
Homeward bound in the San Fernando, and it's Bertrando telling them you're gonna need to sprout wings to catch me.
As they come to the finish, it is Vineyard Haven, the upset winner of the 2008 hopeful. It will be Medaglia d'Oro in a gold medal performance. And Aldebaran looked terrific today. But they're all left in the wake of Sightseek. Ginger Punch on the wire. The champion got the job done.
That's all for this week on HRTV. Here's a look at what's coming up next week.
Really hungry, guys. I don't care. Come on. Bobby, let's order. I'm hungry.
Shut up and eat the... Shut up and eat the...
Shut up and eat the fork.